Welcome to the 2026 January Ccna membership meeting. I have a couple of things I want to talk about. I don't know what the remote is. I need that. I'm moving a little slow this morning, everyone. I apologize. When we had our meeting last month in our holiday party, as we were cleaning up, I picked up as many of these membership meeting minutes as we handed out, so nobody takes them. So this is a waste of money and time to have printed. So the board decided that we weren't going to have these out anymore. You're going to need to read them online before you come in, and we will make a motion, and we will move on from there to save time, energy, and money from printing something no one looks at anyway. So there's that. Everybody okay with that? Excellent, thank you. I also made an announcement that I shouldn't have at our last meeting, that there was the first time in the CCNA board history we would have the same board 2 years in a row. Well, we've already messed that up. We're not going to have that. Exciting news and sad news, both. Flo Entler, who was our second vice president, who's somewhere in the room back there, has decided that she's going to run for city commissioner. The board, our bylaws state that the board can choose the new person to fill out the term, the remainder of the term, for any role except for president. So the board chose Ron Cashton to fill the role. So Ron, welcome to the board. Thank you very much. Richard Harris, our prior immediate past president, has officially sold his property and moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and has resigned from the board. And the board has decided to leave that seat open because the role is immediate past president. And the past president that would have been before him hasn't been involved. And the whole point is continuity across the board, and we wouldn't have that. So that leads to our last announcement, and I'm going to try really hard to get through this, and if I can't, please forgive me. How do I make this go forward? Not working, Ron. Can you do it? Thank you. For those of you that did not hear, Barbara Powell Harris, our board member for District 1, Area A, was killed in a pedestrian accident last month. She was hit by a car while walking her dog and was unable to recover from her injuries. So if you would please, with me, have a moment of silence for Barbara. Barbara was our historian. I'm really not sure what we're going to do for history without Barbara. She always had a great story to go with the education she was giving us at every board meeting, and I will miss her greatly. Her family is currently planning her memorial, and as we learn more, we will put that out on our website, so please look for that. If you'd like more information, there is information on our website on there. I think that's everything. Oh. Sorry, Laurel wants to add something.
I just want to say, Esther has made a gorgeous card for the family that's going around.
So if you would like to sign that card for Barbara, please do so before you leave today. Thank you, everyone. Special guests today, we have Commissioner Jenny Koch in the room. Thank you, Jen. County Commissioner Mark Smith and his lovely, beautiful wife, Esther. I don't see you, Mark. You're sitting right underneath that thing. Thank you. Those chandeliers are so bright. Nancy Kelly. I don't see you. Welcome, Nancy Kelly. Thank you. Commissioner Kathy Kelly Ulrich is here. Thank you. And I thought I saw Pat Robinson in shorts. Is that right? Welcome, Pat. So good to have you.
If we're doing fashion commentary, it's game on. Remember,
I was for everything in beige I owned. It didn't matter which way the stripe went. I was wearing.
Just remember, I hit the mic last.
And of course, we have Sarasota Police Department representation, Matt and Officer Bruno. And of course, we have a presentation today from Alia Garrett, who is responsible for sustainability and resiliency with the city. Alia, raise your hand if you're back there somewhere. I can't see you guys, just a glare. And I don't know who that is. Oh, Steve Cover's here. Hi, Steve. Welcome. Good morning.
Commissioner Albert.
Oh, Liz is here too? Commissioner Albert? You guys are sneaking in on us. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you, everyone. We know it's January 3rd. It's still a holiday, and we appreciate you coming out. And there's a full room today. Are there any new members at the table that haven't been here before and sat at the table? No. Okay. Super fantastic. Thank you. Without further ado, we are going to go to the police report with Officer Matt.
Sure. Good morning and Happy New Year, everybody. All right, we're going to start off with some crime stats today. We're going to start with the month of December. So, in the month of December, we had 0 murders, 9 aggravated assaults, 1 robbery, 3 sex crimes, 16 burglaries, 7 larceny from vehicles, and 4 motor vehicle thefts. There we go. All right, and then we're if people have not been here before, we always do comparison from the year previously to this year. So in 2024, we had 7 murders, and then this year we've had 2. Aggravated assaults in 2024, we had 211, and then this year, 143. Robbery in 24, we had 52 and 35 for 25. Sex crimes in 24, we had 22, and then in 25, we had 24. Burglary in 24, we had 144 and 124 and 25. Larceny from vehicle in 24, we had 137 and 146 and 25. And motor vehicle theft, 117 and 24 and 106 for 25. There we go. Here are some December traffic stats, overall, we had 477 citations and 469 warnings in the month of December. Speeding stats, we've had 105 citations and 59 warnings. Traffic crashes for the month of December, there were 194 crashes. 10 of those involved pedestrians and 10 involved bicycle, and we had 1 fatality. So, coming into the new year, just wanted to bring back the importance of how to report a crime if you have one in. So, of course, if you have an emergency, please 911. There is also the non-emergency number. So something that's not urgent, like a vandalism that's in the past, or there's a death with no suspect. There's a way to utilize that. We have anonymous tips like Crime Stoppers, who's a great partners of ours. Online reporting, which SPD has, and then of course, if you have any questions, please come into the front desk. We're always there. So. So we have a great community event tomorrow. We're going to Barbers and Badges, getting the kids their haircuts before they go back to school. And then we'll have a great big community event this year called Spring Fest in April. So whoever you put that on the calendar, I'd love to see all the associations there. Let's go ahead and bring the next one. And then of course you can connect to us Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube. Any questions?
You want to shout or you want to?
I can shout.
Okay.
I'm just curious on the traffic stats. I mean,
Yes.
We look at it every month, and there's 105 citations for speeding, but there's 477 total. I'm just curious, sort of, what would make, what are other citations? What are the other citations?
So so those are going with vehicle crashes. So when we find somebody at fault, we cite them. So you have a lot of different, like, hey, careless driving, failure to yield, running a stop and other traffic violations, stop sign violations, all those. And then sometimes people, they don't fight or they keep fighting their red light tickets. They can go up to the actual traffic citation. So sometimes goes out on as well. So
Okay, so there's 194 crashes, but there could be multiple citations per crash, correct?
there could be, depending what it is. Yes.
Yes. Okay. I was just trying to get it.
Yeah, understood.
You
Yeah.
represent. Thanks.
Yes, no problem.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I live in San Remo on Tangier Terrace, and just so you guys know, we greatly appreciate all the good work you do in the town, and seeing things drop here is fabulous. But the issue that we have, especially on Tangier Terrace, is people are coming off the quay. They come across the bridge, they're stuck in traffic. They get very angry in their car. You can see it on their faces. And then they make the right on Tangier Terrace, and they're doing 60 miles an hour down Tangier Terrace. Last year, we had these signs made up, which asked for traffic calming. I put 9 of them out with my neighbors, so that, people would see and try and slow down. Not doing any good. You get a patrol car there for just 4 hours on one day during the month. Thank you.
So we're not gonna put hours out on when we're gonna get officers out, but obviously, growing up in Sarasota, I can tell you that key traffic has always been a challenge for the barrier neighborhoods, always has been, probably always will be. I think the signs that you're referring to are actually reminders for neighbors to slow down, not for traffic calming. There is a process for that. I'm happy to hook you up with our engineering group to look into that. I believe we've already done that, and it didn't meet the warrants for traffic calming. That being said, we will make sure that the chief is aware of that. We'll take the times. Usually it's going on and coming off evening when everybody's leaving the beach or leaving restaurants. But we can get people out there to show the flag. We also still have some dummy cars out that we can put out for a little while. But if you put a vehicle out there at a predetermined point in time, it loses its effectiveness very, very quickly. So we will make sure that gets rolled up to the chief and to the traffic unit, and we'll start working on that.
As a reminder, could you please say your name and your neighborhood before you ask your question? Thank you.
Shirley Baldwin, Park East. I noticed you don't split out any information on narcotics-related arrests or DUIs. Did I miss that? But it would be a nice, I think, factor because of the narcotics problem that lawsuits face.
Are you just asking for on the presentation, sir?
Sure.
Sir, is that something we can probably?
Man, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying, like,
I should have brought me.
I know.
Not Nick.
I know. No.
Actually, Matt and I were just talking. He swung by the office last week, Thursday.
Yep.
We're going to redo the crime report, make it a little flashier, add in some of the things that we've heard over the last year, things like narcotics arrest, break some of that information out, make it a little bit more user friendly. So, if you guys have any input into what you'd like to see, let us know, and we'll see what we can do to put that together. Obviously, it's predicated on whether or not we keep the stats and how we can put that out. But we're not married to this format. I don't even like the colors, but whatever. I'm not the author, and I don't want to be the author. So we'll take a gander at that. So if you have input in it, let me know, and we'll definitely look at changing that up a little bit.
I'll change those colors for you, sir.
I appreciate it. Well, we're past Christmas now, so red and green. Let's move on.
I will take it.
There's also a second report that we don't show you here, but it is put on the website that you can go look at. And it breaks down by neighborhood those top 5 crimes and what's happening in each of your individual neighborhoods, and you can see that for yourself. Because I can't help myself, I need to see numbers. Crime was actually down 16% year over year, 24 to 25, for those 5 categories that we're looking at. And we have 22 neighborhoods, member neighborhoods, that have so little crime, they don't even register as a percentage. So I had to add up all 22 of those to get to a percentage number, 6.7% of the total crime. It took 22 neighborhoods to get to that. Our highest crime rates are in District 1 and downtown. So if you would like to see your sheet, please go on the website. You can see it, it's posted out there. You can see what's happening in your own neighborhood. In some cases, they actually tell you what address the crime happened at. So you might want to take a look at that when you have free time and the movie you're watching is really not that interesting. Okay, thank you, Matt. Much appreciated. Next, we're going to do, thank you. So you're going to have to bear with me. We're going to do Protecting Our Parks Initiative update next. And when this all started, actually 1 year ago, we as a membership said that this was important to us as it related to making sure that our parks couldn't be taken over for amusement parks or the property sold in any way. So our goal was to provide protections to all 50-plus parks within the city and to encourage compatible development of commercial enterprise when supported by neighborhoods. If you don't mind, I would like to stand right there because I need to put my paper down. So please bear with me because I was not on this committee. Flo was the chair of this committee. And now that she's running for city commission, she can't be on our board or give a presentation. So let's take you through what we've done in 1 year. And we're going to have some recommendations for what we think should happen that we want your buy-in for so that we can take the next steps. So, first of all, January 4th, 1 year ago, we started all this. Flo Edler was the chair, Barbara Powell Harris sat on this committee, as well as Sherman Baldwin. In the 1 year time period, 6 meetings were held. The purpose of the meetings were, one, to educate themselves on what the current rules were. Because before you can start to ask for change, you should really understand what it is you're changing, right? So that was our first task. Second task, to start asking questions. Ask good questions, ask follow-up questions. And thirdly, flesh out ideas with the cross departments in the city on how we could accomplish our goal to protect our parks. So, in January they met with Lucia and Steve to talk about the current processes. In February, they met together, just the committee, to talk about getting all the parks moved to a governmental G zone or to a parkland designation. And then in March, something really cool happened. A lot of cities and corporations love their silos. That's how you keep people from not understanding what's going on if you keep them in the silos. But what the city did differently and the committee did differently that I thought was incredibly awesome is the different departments met together with the committee to talk about the ideas and ask and answer questions. So legal was involved, Lucia in Development Services was involved, and Jerry Fogle in Parks and Rec. And Jerry's not here today because he has the flu and I asked him to please stay home. I don't want to get the flu and neither do I want it for you. So they all sat down together and talked about what's the right thing to do. Lots of questions asked, lots of ideas tossed out. Then in June, and I'm clicking. There we go. In June, that same group met, and they asked me to join them. So I did, because by default I get to be on every committee whether I want to or not. And we learned some things. We learned that it's supposed to be a 4-to-1 commission vote to sell any property or to lease any city property. We also learned that, we talked about, would a conservation easement be the right thing for our parks? The simple short answer is no. That wouldn't work. And we also talked about a referendum, getting a referendum on the ballot so that the only way anything could be sold was if the voters voted for it. And honestly, the amount of work it would take to do that is more than any of us really want to take on at this point for this particular project, and we'll show you why. And the staff was in favor of the idea of rezoning all parks to G zone. So that's one of our recommendations to you, membership today, to support changing all parks to G zone. Next,
What is G zone?
government. Sorry. Can you hold your questions to the end, please? Thank you. Next, we met in October, same group. Lucia provided us with a book of documents to answer the questions that we asked earlier about what different zone uses, depending on how something is zoned, what it could be used for. And it was a slog of paperwork. So we took that and we went back and we read all of it. We wanted to understand all the different, sort of like if you live in an RSF zone or a downtown neighborhood zone, what can be built there? Can it be 10 stories? Can it be 18 stories? Can it be 5 stories? Can it only be single family homes? The same applies with a G zone, a governmental zone, what that property can be used for. So as we dug through what the property could be used for, and it was pages and pages of information, we had even more questions that the city staff was very gracious to answer for us. And we wanted to understand about the vacation of a park. In other words, could a park just be closed? Could the city decide, we're just going to close that park? How does that work? Well, that does require a supermajority vote. And the staff was not worried about parks being sold because there's a process in place. There are also, within G zone, there's something called park rules, which the rules for parks are made up by park. And you as a neighborhood can affect what that park rule is that's being used for your park. That's something that is not doesn't have to go before the commission to make that change. It's the rules for that park. So if you go into any one of your parks today, you can see there's a sign up that says, in the case I'll use my park in my neighborhood, Gillespie Park, it says you can't lay on the grass. I'm not sure I agree with that one, but you can't lay on the grass, or you can't do this, or you can do that. So each park has its own set of unique rules, and those rules can be added to or deleted from at any time, working with the community. So, as we were reading through this, we wanted to understand why the city staff felt that the process in place was significant, that there's no way park property could be sold or without us knowing about it and having an opportunity to have a voice. This is the process. You don't need to read all this. I'm going to point out the important spots. Just like when a new condo development is going to be built in downtown, well, not downtown because they have administrative review, in another area of the city. If something's coming that's a change in zoning, there's a hearing process. So first there's a public hearing that before it can go through the development review committee. And during that process, a notification is sent to every neighborhood association leader, as well as Ccna receives a copy. Then when the process continues on, it goes through DRC. The next step is it goes to the planning board. Same process. Notification is sent to the neighborhood leaders. Ccna gets a copy. Then it goes to the planning board. If it gets approved or doesn't get approved, it then goes to the city commission. And each one, at the DRC, you don't have an opportunity for a voice. At the planning board, you have an opportunity for a voice. When it goes to city commission, you have an opportunity to raise your voice and speak for or against whatever it is that's going to happen. Once again, that notification also goes to your neighborhood leader and to the Ccna. What we've noticed is there is no notification to the prep board. We think if it's park related, the prep board should get a notification. So that's a recommendation that we're making to add the prep board to this notification process. And what I would say to you all is pay attention to the notices. Find out who is the person receiving the notification in your neighborhood. It goes to your neighborhood president, but is your data current? Has your president changed? Do you want it to go somewhere else? If you haven't looked at that in a long time and you're the president of your neighborhood association, you're like, geez, I've never seen one of those. One of two things has happened. One, nothing is going on in your neighborhood. Or two, they have the wrong information and it's going the wrong place. So reach out to Nancy Kelly. Nancy Kelly, raise your hand, you're back there. Reach out to Nancy Kelly and make sure your information is correct, where you want the information to go. It's January of 26. You need to update your form that goes to the city anyway. It's the perfect time to do that. Make sure she knows it's something different. So it gets fed to Lucia Panica's department to make the changes in their system. All right. Next, we met again in December. We've gone through all the data. We all agreed that there are parks that are currently zoned as RSF, residential single family, or RMF, residential multifamily. All parks should be zoned G. That's the recommendation that city staff as well as the committee supports. We looked at parks and open space as a potential solution, and the feedback we got from Parks and Rec was that is too restrictive. We don't suggest or support that because of the restrictions it puts on us to be able to do things in the park that we want to do or the community wants. We're like, okay, they gave us a bunch of examples. I don't have those for you today, sorry. Jerry, the guy with the flu, had those. The staff is not in favor of a special parks district because it could take control of the parks away from the staff, as well as, when we had devastation to our parks and hurricanes last year, that funding came out of the general fund before FEMA ever pays anything back. If there's a special parks district, they're going to have to come up with the money themselves. What we also learned in reading through the slog of data, that sale of park property has never happened in the city. It's a very long process. But according to staff, it took a supermajority for the commission vote to sell park property. Unfortunately, we were unable to find anywhere that it said that. So we started working with Lucia and Joe Polzak in legal to write up a new ordinance so that no parks could be sold without a supermajority vote from the commission. Notice we said parks, not city property, because if the city just sold property to Plymouth Harbor for something they're doing, 650 square feet, I think was the number, I could be off. But that's not something we need to be in the middle of, or frankly worry about. If they have a dilapidated building they want to sell to somebody, that's not what we were trying to accomplish. The last thing we want when we have an initiative is scope creep. And some scope creep tried to happen here, and we're like, no, that's not what we said we were going to do. We're looking to protect our existing parks. So our recommendation is to update a zoning code to include a 4-to-1 supermajority vote for the sale of any park property. Next steps. The next step is to, if we all agree on the recommendations, that's what we want to do, is we need to get a commissioner or two to support this idea, to put it on the agenda to move it forward. So, in recap, follow up with the city, recommendation to change all parks to G zoning, go for the supermajority ordinance for the sale of park property, and add prep board notification to all notifications that has anything to do with parks that doesn't exist today. Thank you. Questions? I will do my best to answer them without Jerry here. Anyone? Go ahead. Ryan, you take a, thank you.
Good morning, Elizabeth Rose with Bay Point Park. You talked about a commission approval is required to sell or lease a park property. What about to add a park or close a park? And also, I'm surprised that a neighborhood can develop their own rules for different parks. How would anyone know what the rule is in one park versus another?
So let me jump in on that real quick, because I think Kelly did a great job of summarizing probably 4,000 pages of written documentation.
Oh, easily.
So park rules can be altered by administrative input, meaning it can be changed by the parks director and the city manager. So we do get requests for alterations in park hours or different rules. Those have to be vetted by legal, they have to be vetted by the parks department, they have to be vetted by a number of different things. A neighborhood can't just come in and say, well, we want you to paint the grass blue. So
No.
you're correct. There is a process for changing some of the park rules, but it's not just you don't walk in and we change the sign. The signs are expensive.
And adding or closing a park?
So I'd
So
like
park-
to answer that if you
So
don't
park
mind.
hours, we try to keep consistent for enforcement for the
Right.
officers. So we try to keep things specifically linear across the board to allow for uniformity, not only for the officers that are out there trying to enforce the law, but also what people should understand when they go out to the park. So if you go to Gillespie Park, it's on a different hour than another park or another
Right.
park.
Sorry, I meant eliminating a park.
So,
that's-
so
go ahead.
Elizabeth, I talked about it is Elizabeth, right?
Yes.
Thank you. When we talked about what it takes to close a park, and it does require a 4-to-1 supermajority vote from the commission before a park can be closed. We did not address or consider opening new parks because that was not within the scope of what we were trying to do. If we as a group say, hey, that's something we want to take on in the future, we can talk about that, but that was not within the scope of this initiative.
And if you want information on opening a park, I think David chat about that. It was a very, very easy 2-year process, $2 million. Anytime you open up a new park, there's unfunded, it's an unfunded ask. So that would have to be worked into the budgetary process, but there is a process for that. I can tell you in the 25 years that I've been with the city, we've added more parks. To Kelly's point, I don't ever remember getting rid of any park
Right.
land, so.
According to the data that we went through with the city staff, that's not happened. Okay, other questions? Remember who you are and where you're from.
Jody Geiger, Bayou Oaks. Where do you get the rules for your park?
You can ask Jerry Fogel.
I think they're mostly on the website, but I'll find out for you, and if they're not posted, we can do that very easily. Most of the time, to have them be enforceable, there is a posted sign inside the park.
Yes.
Like I said, they're generally pretty much uniform. There's some add-ons, like we just had the addition per Florida State statute for smoking. We had to add that on. There's a little rider on the back end of it, or if there's a special, I apologize, I'm losing my voice. There can be add-ons, but generally for enforceability, they should be posted at the general entrance and exit of the park. And if it's not there, let me know. And we'll get
If
one
there's
on that.
special park rules, if there's special park rules for your park, the sign is white with black letters, and it's usually installed above another sign on an existing signpost where it says no motor vehicles in the park, or some other rule that's for your park. The smoking ones kind of got stuck everywhere. In my park, they got stuck on light poles. But these particular park signs with the park rules are normally at the primary entrances into the park from more than one area.
Okay, to my knowledge, the only signs at North Water Tower Park are the signs for dogs being on a leash. That's it.
So I would ask you to go look one more time specifically for that, and if there are none, reach out to Jerry Vogel.
We'll take a look.
Okay?
Thank you, Pat.
Because I went driving around looking for them a couple of years ago. I'm like, I don't know, check it out. They're different from neighborhood to neighborhood. Kevin Spence, please.
Kevin Spence, Sandy Beach, Sapphire Shores. I think the work you guys have done is incredible, and I fully support it. I'd like to suggest that the committee also consider a statement of intent or preference for the Ccna that states that green space is a priority for all neighborhoods, and that the acquisition of more can never be a wrong thing. Simply so on it, it ain't going away. And so there are a number of little pocket parks, and I had at one point in time gotten a sentiment, but I don't think it was citywide, that parks did not want any more stuff to have to deal with. I don't think that's the case. I think that everybody, especially at this table, wants more green space wherever we can get it, because, like I say, once it goes away. So I asked the committee to consider a statement of preference or something for the CCNA.
Valerie from SJ Council. I'm just curious as to why can't you lay in the grass at the park? It's a park.
That's what I said, Valerie. I'm like, who came up with that dumb rule?
It's a park, and I think that's a little control, if you will. Even though MLK Park has not been restored totally yet. But, I mean, we have a dip there, and people like to go and lay in the sun and so forth. We don't have any gym stuff for the children at all. And so why can't you lay in the park?
So Valerie, that no lying on the grass rule is not for every park. Only some parks. I don't know if that has it on a sign. Is it on a sign for every
They had a sign posted, so if I go lay down there and the police that's mad at day come and handcuff me, they'll be within their right because the sign is there.
I can't answer that question. Pat, can you answer that question?
It sounded like a statement, not a question.
Okay. So Valerie, what I would say, if you want that sign changed for a rule for MLK Park, to reach out to Jerry. I know why it got done in Gillespie Park. We are very, very, very close to the 10th Street Salvation Army. And that's why it's on there. That's why it's on there. Okay, any other questions? Rob Grant. Oh, Sherman, sorry.
I was just going to make a statement. Sherman Bolden, I am a member of the Parks Committee. One of the things that we had to deal with is we thought there might be at first one fell swoop designation that would protect all our parks from shifting committee commission membership and all of that. And it's not so easy because what we do or what we can face is the loss of power by our Parks and Recreation Department to do things that are different than, say, pocket parks and parks like Worland Park, where we do have a concession made, but that's not the point. But the point is that what we are trying to protect is to protect against shifting, I guess, opinions on the commission and make it very difficult to do any drastic changes in parks. And it's a work in progress, but we're getting there. So that's what I wanted to just say.
I think this is the last question here.
Rob Grant, Burlington Park. Actually, Sherman, what you said is a great introduction to, really I don't have a question. Kelly knows what I'm here to suggest and put out to the table, because this is post-committee information and discussion amongst neighbors and other folks, and there was an idea brought up, and it kind of dovetails with the idea that staff wants to keep these G-zone. Well, this gets a little wonky, but you know, they're not just governmental properties. I mean, these would be zoned the same as, say, City Hall. These are park properties. So the concept was discussed and the idea was brought up to take a blank sheet of paper, cut and paste the G-zone zoning district onto a new sheet of paper, but instead of calling it G-zone, title it City Parks, CP. It's the exact same thing. Change the future land use map, and in one fell swoop, include all of the parks that exist, change the future land use map, and rezone them all to City Park. The only difference would be include the supermajority vote to protect those in that. That would be the only difference between the G zone and the City Park. But it would also identify these things in perpetuity in the future land use map as city parks for what they are. It would align the use with with the name and the intent and eliminate, it would make it much harder in the future for, wavering winds of things to change these things. So that's a suggestion. I'd just like to throw that out there, put it on the table. This has not been discussed with staff. It is an idea from the community and others that have heard about this effort, and people have other ideas. And I think this is I think it's a laudable consideration to look at, and put that to staff and see is that feasible as well. They were able to, in a couple of fail swoops, change the corridors and hundreds of properties along the corridors with one ordinance. So I don't think it's too much of an ask for, I think it was 61 parks on the list, to consider something like that here. Well, they're G-zone, they're RSF, they're RMF,
Zone G,
various,
RSF,
yeah, all
they're all
kinds of
different
random
zones.
things. So
The majority are zoned G,
that's my idea.
but several are not, many are not. Thank you, Rob. Anybody have anything else? All right, so what we'll do next is look into Rob's idea and come back to the group with an update. Thank you, everyone. Next up, anyone know what's next? I don't have an agenda. Thank you. Alia, if you could join us in the front, and if you would like, I can run these slides for you so it's not so difficult. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me okay? I'm very soft-spoken, so if nobody can hear me, just raise your hand and let me know. My name is Alia Garrett. I'm the Sustainability and Resilience Manager for the City of Sarasota. And go ahead to my next slide. Thank you for doing that. All right, we can go one more. All right. So I'm just going to give a quick overview of my focus areas that we work on in our program, some of the current initiatives I have going on. I feel like it was in November of last year, correct me if I'm wrong, it was after all of the storms, but I believe y'all passed a motion for some water quality information, so we're gonna give an update on that, and then I'll take questions. Go ahead. So what is the role of my program? Basically, our program drives initiatives that strengthen resilience and implement strategies for a sustainable future. So this includes both internal operations for making the city, our staff, everything we do internally more sustainable, our buildings more resilient, and then also community-wide. And that's one of our plans that we did. There's a few of you here that participated in that, so thank you. Go ahead to the next slide. Okay, go ahead again, sorry. So one of my focus areas is waste management. We do have a city code that requires all residents and businesses to recycle. This was enacted way before my time. So one of the things I wanted to do is a lot of single stream recycling and education. A lot of people don't know that we have single stream recycling. So every single thing can go in your bin that is recyclable. You don't have to separate out, the paper, plastics, cardboards, all of that. And starting to do business recycling audits within the city as well. And I have more about that later. Go ahead. Energy is a big focus as well. We are part of Florida Power and Light's Solar Together program. So about 80% of the city's energy use is offset by solar energy. And the facilities guys, when I first started working with the city, I've been in contact with them a lot. Okay. Can you hear me better? Oh, yes. Okay. I've been working with the facilities guys a lot, and of course at our facilities we have LED lighting and motion sensors, low flow fixtures, and all of those things as well. Resilience planning is a huge focus. I know we're seeing stronger and more frequent storms, so this is kind of one of my very big priorities that I have. We did complete a vulnerability assessment and adaptation plan, which I'll be talking about a little bit later in the presentation. I've been partnering with our new emergency manager, and if y'all haven't met her yet, her name is Rachel. She's actually awesome. I feel like we're in such great shape and great hands. So I've been partnering with her a lot on hazard mitigation grants and also some resilient Florida grants as well. Next one. Green building is something that I'm passionate about. We're just kind of starting this initiative. We're in the early stages, trying to work with community partners like architecture, and others. And green building is basically just creating structures and using processes that are environmentally responsible and resource efficient. We cannot do mandates. There are some Florida statutes that prohibit us from doing anything that's more burdensome or restrictive than the Florida building code, but we can do incentives, so that's something that we're looking into instead. Go ahead. I do a lot of education and outreach in the community. I was actually with Sarasota County for about 4 years before I was out of the city, and I worked at the IFAS Extension Office. So education and outreach is very near and dear to my heart. So I do a lot of school and neighborhood presentations. We have our annual Earth Day Festival that we partner with the Bay. We're going to be doing that again this year, so please do come. We have an annual Sustainable Communities Workshop that we partner with the county on as well. And I do a lot of water goat cleanouts. If you're not familiar with what a water goat is, it's a fun name, but basically it's like a litter collection device that floats on top of bodies of water. We have a couple throughout the city and some in the county that we partner with, like Sarasota High School, for example, to clean them out. All right, then I'm going to talk about some of the things I'm currently working on. Go ahead. So this was really important. It was completed last year. It's a citywide vulnerability assessment and adaptation plan. The Florida Department of Environmental Protection has this program called Resilient Florida. And basically all municipalities in Florida participated in this and had to complete one of these studies. The requirements for these assessments had to include flooding, sea level rise projections, mainly focused on 2040 and 2070, and also critical and regionally significant assets. The grant that we got was for like $95,000-ish. I believe I might have the exact cost on the next slide, but it did not cover private businesses. This was state funded, looking at critical and regionally significant assets only. So it's not like looking at any businesses or private homes or things like that. But participating in this did qualify the city for future funding and cost share in that Resilient Florida grant. So it's very important that we participated. So our next steps with that, we are working with all of the departments in the city to prioritize the projects that were identified. We did start meeting with them. We now want to pursue project implementation funding for Resilient Florida, maybe hazard mitigation grants and others. Our goal is to apply for highly ranked projects. So in this study, it identified high, medium, and low risk assets. So those highly ranked projects, we definitely want to start applying for grants and maybe enable planning for matching funds and budgets ahead of time or the CIP. We talked about our city code for recycling. One thing I wanted to make sure is that we're practicing what we preach. So I wanted to do some internal recycling audits. And believe it or not, I was very pleasantly surprised when I started at the city. I went to every single building. I have 2 left on my list, but I've been to all of them other than those 2 that are being scheduled now to conduct audits and make sure that they had a recycling account set up, that their staff was recycling, doing education there, getting posters up about how people can recycle. A lot of people are like, oh, well, things don't get recycled. They don't if we don't recycle right, because Waste Pro has a contamination threshold, so if it's more than, I think, 16% or 20% contaminated, they turn it away. So that's when things don't get recycled. I've actually been to the Waste Pro facility, I've toured it, it's amazing the operations they have going on there. So wanted to make sure that we are doing that, and now every building has recycling set up, I know that for a fact. And just got some more bins at workstations and break rooms, so everybody is recycling, and we're very proud of that. I also have a battery recycling program going on, and we're looking into other ways to recycle as well, maybe e-waste, partnering with the IT department. This is something that is very new, but I'm extremely excited about because I do vermicompost at home. I have a worm compost bin. I love them dearly. But we are potentially going to commission in early February for direction on moving forward with amending the city code and zoning codes to allow for the transportation of food waste and composting. Currently, we don't have a city code definition for food waste or composting. It's all just classified as solid waste. So technically, people are not allowed third-party business aside from the city is not allowed to transport food waste, so it makes composting in the city very hard. So that's something that we'd like to explore a little bit more. In the meantime, I've been partnering with a lot of local community organizations like Sunshine Community Compost. They're amazing, they do great work, and every year we have to sign this like agreement to allow them to transport things, and it's just, we should just change the zoning and the city code so that we can just do it a lot easier. And then I'm also working with organizations like the Science and Environment Council and local foundations and some other groups. We would love to see a local composting facility within the city. Go ahead. Okay, this is what you all probably want to hear. It's about the water testing and notification. So last year, after all the storms, y'all passed this motion about having the city take a more proactive role in educating people about water quality post-storm. So I went on this journey of learning about what exactly the city does, what the role of the Department of Health is, and what other organizations locally are doing. So the Department of Health is the agency that is tasked by the state to test water quality at all bathing beaches. And this is important because they are only testing water at beaches that are classified by the state as a beach. So there's water access points here where people are launching their kayaks or things like that. That's not necessarily a beach, it's a water access point. So Department of Health is only testing at bathing beaches. They do not test at water access points at all, and then they must have 2 out-of-range samples to post a no swim advisory. So there is a certain threshold of bacteria that is going to be in water at all points in time. Good water quality has less than 35 parts per million. After that, it becomes, horror in their language. So one of the things that happened last year was that there was a delay in the Department of Health posting notifications, and this group saw some people wading in water or going into the water, and most of us know that after a storm you really shouldn't be in the water. Aside from, bacteria levels, there's marine debris as well, so it's just really unsafe. We have a lot of tourists, we have people that just moved here, and maybe they don't know that. So you were hoping that the city could take a more proactive role. One of the things that we explored is signage. I think that's a good idea. We wanted to make permanent signage that pointed to the Department of Health so that people could see, oh, the Department of Health is testing here, and have a little QR code so that people could scan it when they were at these access points and beaches. Have them be, reasonably sized, 12 by 18. We have them at all access points at Lido Beach, at Indian Beach, and the Bay Park one is coming soon. They're very specific about their aesthetics, so they wanted to have the same language but with their own design. So that is in the works. They'll be putting it up by the Resilient Shoreline. That isn't classified as a beach, it's a water access point, so that is what sign they'll have. So go ahead to the next slide, I think I have an example. So as you can see, there's 2 different signs. The one on the left is for bathing beaches, and it has you point to where you can get the information about the water quality. But the most important thing on here is we wanted to make sure that there was a statement about water quality after storms. So while water quality may vary, rain and storms can raise bacteria levels and bring in debris, leading to greater risk. Consider avoiding swimming or recreating after these events. We cannot tell people what they can and can't do. We can't tell people do not get in the water, but we can tell them you might consider not doing that. So that's where that verbiage came from. The water access notice is the alternative to that for points where there are kayak launches or other areas that aren't beaches. Just showing people you can go to bathing beaches, but the water quality is not tested by the Florida Department of Health. And it also includes that same, maybe consider not swimming after storms information. Go to the next one. This is some examples. We have them up. They are installed at Lido and other areas that I mentioned. So take note, if you see them, point them out to folks, and we'll do our best to keep educating the community about the risk after storms. We were very lucky this year, and I'm hoping we're very lucky next year also. Go ahead. Questions?
Thank you, Leah. Anybody have questions?
David Lowe.
You have one right there.
Yeah, hi, David Lowe from the Downtown Sarasota Condo Association. Does your work in sustainability, maybe this is a very ill-informed question, have anything to do with canopy tree or tree coverage? For example, in the Rosemary, projects have cut down, removed 1,000 trees in the last 4 or 5 years. Got another 150 coming down in the next 6 months. So when we talk about, when you think about your role, your responsibilities, where do trees come into the sustainability question or not?
So they are related. I'm not an urban forester. That isn't my area of expertise. I have been trying to partner with development services because they do have some, I forget what their title is, they're arborists, I believe, but they mainly do code compliance. So there is some possibilities for overlap there. I think trees are a sustainability solution for mitigating heat, absorbing runoff. There's a lot of benefits there, providing shade, sequestering carbon. So that is something I'm going to explore in the future. Thank you for bringing that up.
Kelly?
John Dieter Birdkey. I have a question. You mentioned that if a batch or some measure was contaminated, it wasn't recycled. Out of what you pick up as recycling, how much of that actually ends up being recycled?
100% of it. Our contamination rate is so low. I am very impressed with our citizens. I'm very happy about it. That's why education is super important. Our solid waste director, I don't know if it's what his title is, but Todd Kucharski, he's amazing. He's super into sustainability. He does a lot of education with residents about recycling as well. So we're doing great compared to other municipalities. I'm very proud of us. There was a good article, I think it was, The Observer, I'll have to find it and I'll come give it to you, that somebody wrote about our contamination rates and everything because we're doing so well.
Hi, Jessica here from the Resident Association. Thank you for the presentation. I just have 2 quick questions regarding recycling, and that is because I'm kind of ignorant about it. Number 1, do you provide some sort of bins or containers to recycle the batteries to the buildings, association building? That's 1. And then how should we discard old oil? I always have that, in my mind, and I don't know what would be the right way to discard the oil.
So batteries right now, we just have employee collection bins that aren't available to the public, but where I bring them, there's an organization called To Recycle. There's a couple different locations throughout the city, but the one that accepts like single-use alcohol batteries is on University in that little plaza. It's like University right by 75 at Staples inside of there. So I'm encouraging residents to bring them there now. Potentially we could explore ideas of putting them at recreation centers and community centers. That's a great idea. But I'm gonna have to work with parks and some of the facilities to see if they have the space and are interested in that. Your second question about oil, that's not technically recyclable, so you're gonna have to bring that to the hazardous waste facility. That's where you would bring paint and other things as well.
Are you talking about cooking oil? Yes.
Oh, cooking oil.
This fundraiser.
Yes, sorry.
I'm sorry.
I was like, what oil are we talking about? You're not my hair. Who knows? Yes, cooking oil, you don't want to pour that down the drain ever. The county actually has a great program called FOG. It's like fats, oils, and grease. You're gonna want to just pour that in like some sort of container and throw it away. You don't want to pour it down the drain. There's nowhere you can recycle it. So that's your best option.
Thank you.
Yes.
Just to add on, Alia, on the battery discussion, I believe it's Staples, Office Max, Best Buy has a corporate policy that they recycle lithium and old batteries. Usually if you walk inside, the only reason I know this, I was there yesterday buying a printer. When you walk in, there's usually a box in the front that says use batteries. I know they're at Best Buy, but I've been to Staples in a while, so I think, and we'll look into that, but I think there are corporate programs, usually the ones that sell them, also, I think they get money back when you turn them in. So I think that Best Buy, Office Max, and Staples are the 3 that I'm aware of.
Yes, they are at multiple places, but depending on what type of battery you have, you can only bring it to a certain location, and it is free because they do make money off of it. So just make sure when you're going, before you go to that facility, call them or look on their website and see what type they accept. We get tons of different batteries at the city, so that's why we're doing that specific location. Thank you.
Well, we have time for one more question. Thank you.
Rob Grant, Arlington Park. I just wonder if you could, I guess, comment or explain to us what happened to the recycling in the parks. Because in Arlington Park, they removed all the recycle, like next to the trash bin, if there was a recycling can, and those are all gone. So I mean, is there recycling going on at some parks, not all parks?
No parks.
No parks.
Yes.
Yeah,
this is a whole
kind of surprised me.
Yeah, a whole conversation I've been involved in recently because I would like to see them back at parks. Apparently, some years ago, they just were seeing way too high contamination rates at every single park specifically. So every single load at every single park was being denied and going to the landfill anyways. I am interested in seeing recycling at parks in a way that would reduce contamination. So something I've been considering is recycle bins that are harder to open. So, you know, at state parks, they have those ones that have like a latch on them so that it prevents critters from getting in there. So maybe something like that where it's not just open like a trash can and people can just toss it in there. It's a two-step process. But the thing with that is, if they're at state parks, I think it's fine, but I do have a call coming up with the ADA coordinator for the city because I do want to make sure that they're ADA accessible and compliant with that. So one of the parks that I'm going to start out with is Bayfront Park. I've been talking to the parks people. I've had a few meetings with them as well as Todd Kucharski and Solid Waste and a few others to explore the opportunity of bringing recycling back to parks in a way that things would actually be recycled.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alia. Very well done. Okay, so I have completely blown up the agenda today and skipped all kinds of stuff, so I'm just going to do it again. We're going to jump to Traffic Safety Committee update Phase 1. Norm Dumaine is the chair and Officer Bruno. And then we're going to come back to the membership delegate FAQs. And then when we get done with that, we'll jump all the way to the beginning and do the treasurer's report. Thank you. Anyone can feel free to let me know when I don't follow the agenda.
Okay, good morning. With the committee that we have, the Traffic Safety Committee, we've been working now with the Police Department, and I'd like to introduce you Officer Bruno. And Officer Bruno, Chief Troche has asked him to become a liaison between Ccna, Traffic Safety Committee, and the SPD. With the SPD, the thought is that the SPD and our committee can work together in terms of providing an approach to help with traffic safety. In terms of that, the idea is that in fact, Officer Bruno has actually presented, is that it's time for us as a community to become very involved in helping with traffic safety. The thought here is to actually become part of the collection of information that the SPD can use in terms of developing programs to help in regard to this. You probably know that we've already been working in terms of the safety traffic program. Four parts of that: education, engineering, enforcement, and emergency services. Right now, we're working with the SPD in terms of enforcement and seeing what we can do to that. So I'm going to ask Officer Bruno to talk to us about what can be done in terms of actually monitoring the speeds on our local streets.
Thank you, Norm. Okay, Officer Nicholas Bruno, Sarasota Police Department Traffic Investigative Unit. So The biggest thing that was brought to our attention from our meeting with Mr. Dumaine, okay, is that of the 32 neighborhoods, 30 of the neighborhoods had a noted complaint involving speeding or just traffic issues within their neighborhood, okay? One thing that, of course, we all can understand to a certain point is that there's a big difference between perception versus reality. Okay, speeding cars are of course very, very large vehicles going past wind deflection, hearing the wind deflection, not actually seeing it. You know, it can sound a lot faster than it actually is. Okay, so in our way of traffic enforcement, one way that we are able to enforce speeding infractions, okay, is through the use of speed measurement devices, notably lasers or radars. So the device that I have here with me today, this is a speed laser. Okay, this is an ultralight LRB. One idea that was brought to my attention, okay, is going to be to have involvement from any of the neighborhoods that wish to be a part of it. Okay, can have 1 or 2 representatives, whatever you choose. Okay, who would like to have a basically a crash course on how this device operates. And over time, we could potentially establish a program for just a certain set amount of time for the representatives from certain neighborhoods to have this device in their possession. And they would then be able to pick designated points throughout the neighborhood that there have been noted complaints of speeding, of, you know, whether it's speeding, stop sign violations, whatever it is, but of course with this being speeding. And at that point, they could just observe vehicles. They could actually use this device to capture vehicle speed. They could then log all of that data. Okay, that data could then be presented to the police department. Okay, by the way of Mr. Dumaine. Okay, and if there is in fact a present issue within that area, that would then be information that our traffic unit could use for any directed patrol that we would then do, okay? So again, this is just one way to kind of bridge the gap between perception into reality, and also to, of course, bridge the gap between the neighborhoods and the police department to hopefully, you know, work towards solving some of these issues. Of course, these issues will never completely be resolved, but we can just always work towards them. Thank you.
So as you can see, we need your help with this kind of program. What we'd like to do is to have neighborhoods who are interested to actually designate, find 2 or 3 individuals in the neighborhood who are actually willing to do this kind of monitoring with the radar, so that we get a real good sense of what's happening in specific neighborhoods. It is going to require some effort on our part. 1, finding the designated people, and at least I'd say 2. Secondly, their willingness to go through a very good penetration training with the radar. They're collecting the data. Now, you know your neighborhoods better than anyone else. What are the key spots that you see some problems? That's where we need to monitor what's happening in the neighborhood. And then it's compiling the data so that can be presented to the police so they can look at it and see what could be done to help us in that respect. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to really consider getting involved, becoming part of trying to find the solution we need, and to report back to us on that. So at this point, I'm going to send out some more information in the next couple of days about exactly what we'd like to do and what kind of information that we'd like to collect. And then we'll move forward from there. Yes.
Mark Spiegel, Golden Gate Point. I was wondering from the officer.
Thank you. Mark Spiegel, Golden Gate Point. My question is,
there been any studies already done on the late night speeding that occurs on the Ringling Bridge and what can be done about that?
Our specific focus is on local streets as opposed to the larger areas like that. We have another committee that is working on those kinds of streets. So in terms of the Ringling Bridge, I'm not sure what kind of information we'd be able to get. This program is not focused specifically on the larger streets in the city.
So I can answer that. So we have done multiple operations on the Ringling Bridge. Most recently, I think, about 3 months ago, we did a motor unit operation on the bridge in the evening because we know that it is an acceleration point. We worked with the state for years to try to get that down from 45 to 35. They finally changed it. Part of it's education, part of it's enforcement. I can't remember how many tickets we wrote, but I want to say 65.
It was 48 and about 20 warnings.
Right. So we do spot enforcement, but I can tell you right now that if you ask every one of these neighborhoods if you want enforcement in your neighborhood, guess what they're going to say?
Yes.
Yes. So I have how many people in traffic right now? 7, 8. So we spread it around, try to get out there, hit the high spots when they flare up. We know, look, at the end of the day, guys, this is high season. Everybody wants to be where you live. So they are all going to the beach and they're all coming off the key. So talking about San Remo, it's going to be an issue for a while. We know it, we'll work on it. Ringling Bridge. The only good thing about Ringling Bridge, better or worse, is you ain't moving that fast during the normal business hours. You're going about 15. I've been out there. You ain't speeding during the day. In the evening, at night, it is absolutely an issue. We know it's an issue, and we are taking enforcement action, so I appreciate that.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Officer, as you heard, Ccna just lost one of our leaders and dear friends. 2 questions. One, has the investigation into the circumstances surrounding her death, has that been completed? And number 2, once that is completed, can we put some focus on the circumstances to correct, if possible, what led to the accident as a way to, that's the best way to honor her, is to make sure it doesn't happen again?
So again, I'll take the heat off of Nick since they're actually investigating. It is an active, ongoing investigation. I know I've communicated with a bunch of people in this room, either individually or with regard to our elected officials. The crash report is exempt under Florida law. It cannot be released for 60 days unless you're involved party. I can tell you that it is being handled as a traffic homicide investigation, which, as you know, as a former prosecutor, slows it down. Everything is measured, everything is documented. Once the report is completed, it will be released in its totality. I don't know when that will be, but I can tell you that I've already talked to our engineering folks, Nick and Saji. We are looking at that intersection, not saying that anything with regard to that intersection led to the crash, but there are some things that we can update on it to make it a safer intersection, as well as all the way down MLK. Obviously, I worked with Barbara for years, both at the city and through Ccna. She was a hell of an advocate for Ccna and for her neighborhood, and she'll be sorely missed. And I can assure you that we are doing every single thing that is necessary to ensure that the totality of the circumstances that led to that will be released and documented. And if there are things that we need to do differently, we'll do that. It's a tragedy, and I know I have full faith and confidence in our traffic unit to fully investigate this, and our engineering group to take a look at that intersection. So I appreciate that, Eileen. There is not any resource that's being held back relative to this investigation.
All right. Norm, anything else?
Okay. Please look out. There will be an email out to you and your neighborhoods. Be sent out to the presidents and the delegates and the alternates so that you're all aware of what's going on. We would ask that you talk with your board and provide us with the information we need to move forward with this initiative.
Norm.
I apologize, we had one more question, I didn't see it.
Just one more, David Lowe. Officer, noise, traffic enforcement, does that include, sir, modified mufflers, which is a state statute, as I understand it? And before the commission currently is some additional sound regulations related to revving of motors, purposeful revving, shall we say. That is
No, David, we don't enforce Florida state statute. Of course, we enforce Florida state statutes related to traffic. So the preemptive issue, and I think we're getting around to the circle about noise cameras. Unfortunately, until the state of Florida changes their legislative stance on noise cameras, we won't be able to use those. But I can tell you that there is no prohibition or rule, SOP, general order that preempts our traffic unit or any police officer for taking action on any Florida state statute. So anything that's on the books.
Yeah, I wasn't going to talk about noise. I was going to speak about almost like a DUI checkpoint kind of thing from time to time, doing an area where you would observe both speed and modified mufflers, and get this in the paper as a memo to folks that, hey, behaving yourself. With increasing numbers of high-rise buildings on certain corridors, the echoing sounds are going to just intensify. And again, I think in addition to speed, equal to that is a concern of quality of life and ear safety is the sound generated by modified cars, motorcycles, whatever. So what is currently being done or envisioned on this one?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I think you've all experienced this kind of problem with sound. With this particular initiative, the focus is going to be on speed in the neighborhoods. I think we can look forward in the future in terms of addressing that as well. But that would be a separate kind of initiative.
No, but I think David has a good point. There is, as I said earlier, there's nothing that says that officers can't enforce it. Right. I know we have done operations in the past, reference to revving of engines, altered mufflers, etc., or just open air, stereos playing. I think we can do that. We can schedule that and make that happen, especially in like the downtown core. To your point, that reverberation within the buildings and the cores is one thing if you're on the state highway. It's another thing in totality in the downtown core. So we'll definitely take a look back and get that scheduled for 2026. Thank you, David. That's great.
I'd like to thank Officer Bruno for his help and information. I think it's going to be very helpful to us. Thank you.
All right. Leslie, you're up. So just kind of tee this next section up. When I first joined Ccna, I had a million questions about, this, that, the other thing. How does that work? What do you do? How do you do it? And then Leslie joined the board and she started asking what do you do? How do you do it? And I'm like, and so Leslie led this initiative to try to answer some of those questions for new delegates, new members, and she's going to take you through that. Do you want somebody to click for you?
Am I in the way? I'll move. Welcome, everyone. As Kelly just said, the board wanted to take a few minutes just to reintroduce the delegate responsibility and how we work together to strengthen our neighborhood. And you've also been provided a handout that has this information on it. Okay, Ccna has been the voice of the neighborhoods for over 3 decades. And our mission is to preserve, protect, and enhance Sarasota neighborhoods while advocating for residents' evolving needs. And when I say residents here, I'm using the broad term. Next, please. So the delegates are the essential link between the neighborhood and Ccna. And by attending our meetings, you're making sure that your neighborhood's voice is heard and that information flows in both directions. And there's, on the CCNA webpage, there is also a page on delegate responsibility, if you are not familiar with that. CCNA's power lies in our collaboration. And by uniting neighborhoods, we amplify shared concerns and we create meaningful impacts. We also maintain strong communication with our city officials, and we help neighborhoods navigate government processes. If a neighborhood has an issue that has to be elevated, in general, the issue can be presented during the neighborhood report segments of the CCNA meeting, and then the delegates or the presidents of the neighborhood can work in the area A, B, or C directors to work on next steps. And I'm the area C director, and Beth is the area D director. And the CCNA website is a resource hub where delegates can go and get information to stay informed and engaged. And the city also has a number of useful links as well on their webpage. They're in your handout as well. And some of these include, you want to go to the next slide? The public access email link, where you can search emails by subject. Next. The City of Sarasota application under development webpage, where you can hit on these icons to get more information about the development of the city. Next. And of course, the meeting agenda and video link, where you can find out about upcoming meetings. You can get the link to watch the meetings, the agendas, the minutes, and you also have information on past meetings on this site. Next, please. And of course, the link to the Code of Ordinance and Zoning, which may be useful. Next. So, in conclusion, I'd like to thank you all for stepping into this important role. The delegate, you are the link that holds CCNA together. And your involvement is going to help shape the future of Sarasota neighborhoods. So we look forward to working with you, and let us know if you need anything. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to back up real quick to the beginning part of the meeting that I skipped right over on the agenda. This is why I could never, be a city commissioner, because I would just screw that up every time. Treasurer's report. Melinda, do we have any money?
Yes, we have $4,815. Many of you have already paid your dues, so I'm not talking to you, but the rest of you, I am talking to you. The dues are $60, made payable to CCNA, and you can mail that. Our P.O. Box is 1851, and the zip code is 34230. Or if you're a little more technically oriented, you can Zelle it to treasurer@sarasotaccna.org. There's also a form that you're supposed to fill out that tells us who your new board members are, and we'd appreciate it if you could get that to us as well. And I see a question over here.
It's on your agenda. You can just take your agenda and the Zelle information is right there.
It's 1850, P.O. Box 1851, the zip is 34230.
Oh yeah, for mailing. Sorry, I want Zelle. Okay, Jim, you have anything you want to add?
No, I do not.
Thank you, Jim. By the way, all that awesome stuff on the website that Leslie was talking about, Jim manages all that, so thank you, Jim. Ron, do you have anything? BB2, area reports, B? Oh, okay, we'll get to that. Leslie?
This isn't particular to Area C, but when the neighborhood page from the CCNA website was connected to the city, I went in and looked at all the links from all the neighborhoods and the emails, and I sent out correct and what you wanted for this year. Thank you.
Which would lead me to my second question, is your information right for the city? Are you getting the notifications that you should be in the mail when there's a public hearing? I would guess no. So please check that too. Committee reports, stormwater.
Good morning. Very quick update because a lot of this has been in the news already, but this is for the Stormwater Initiative. This past November and December. In November, the Hudson Bay and Whitaker Bayou dredging projects were approved by the County Commission. And in December, St. Armand's project improvements were approved as well. And there's a write-up that Nick Patel did, and it is posted in the area where Leslie was talking about on the Ccna website. It goes through each one of the funding allocations for these different initiatives. But in summary, I'll just read here that together these county-led projects represent more than $48 million in resiliency investment and will improve system performances, reduce flood duration, and help the community recover more quickly after future storms, providing additional resiliency. I just want to say that I know that some of you maybe sit here and wonder, does CCNA really have an impact? Does it matter? Do we have a voice? At we met with every single commissioner, city, county, countless meetings, Ben Porter, anyone that would listen to us. We supported, in the beginning, these three major projects, and CCNA was there with a voice. And in the end, down in Venice, 9 a.m., 10s, 20, 30 buses of people came down there from your communities to speak on behalf of these initiatives. And I choose to believe that we all made a difference, and grassroots efforts count. Your voice matters, and I just want to thank you all in the community for everything you did to get this passed. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you, Beth. Okay, I'm gonna just give you a quick update and ask for your support on a change or a scope creep, if you will, on the Traffic Safety Committee Phase 2. We took on, working with the city staff, scoring for the warrant system for arterial and connector roads, and we will have our final meeting with city staff this coming week, and that's going to be ready to be moved forward. So we've in effect accomplished what we said we were going to accomplish. So our committee, which is myself, Steve Martinucci, who's here somewhere, Alan Pariser's wife Karen, and Hugh Fiore, who I haven't seen today, we met a couple of weeks ago, and we would like to ask for the support from membership to take on a new safety initiative for our neighborhoods as it relates to enforcement and education for bicycle and e-bike safety. We think that that is where we need to turn next to start making some impactful change in our city for the safety of our people on a bike, our people walking near people on a bike, especially e-bikes, and frankly, the people in cars that the e-bikes are just blowing through and bicycles are not stopping and people are getting injured. So with your support, we would like to move to a new part of this initiative to talk about e-bike safety. How does everyone feel about that? Can I get a motion to support that?
I make such a motion.
Thank you, Joyce. Is there a second? Oh, lots of seconds. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And thank you, everyone. We're going to start on that next. We actually have a meeting set up with the SPD and that whole group for next month to get started. Thank you very much. Did all the committees go? Emina, you want to talk about Emina?
I'll share my microphone here.
Thank you. Exciting. We're beginning to put together a group where we actually are going to be sitting down with developers in the development community and talk about compatibility and other items that are of interest to all of us. It's going to happen this year for sure, but we're beginning to put together something right now and see what common grounds we have and where we can make some progress in that area.
Super exciting. We're going to try to meet in the middle with some new ideas of how we can be better community members all around, so that the divisiveness, wouldn't it be great if, in 2 years from now, there's an article in the New York Times of how a community changed divisiveness between development and neighborhoods, and they used us as an example? We can all dream. Thank you, Jim, appreciate it. We need to have approval of the December 6th membership meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve? Leslie, second. Down there, I can't see who that is. You're right. Alan, thank you, Alan. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you. Old business, city manager search. I don't know how many of you are following this, but I want to say there were 77 applicants turned in by the search group. Is that right? 77, just under 80. I personally haven't started reading all those resumes yet, but I know there are others that have. The commissioners have a big job in front of them to winnow that down to something reasonable to start the process. So we'll keep you posted on that as we learn more. As the community is allowed to be involved, we'll make sure you know about that and you can be a part of that. Now to new business. Real quick, before we get into neighborhood reports, I really, really, really wanted to have Florida Power and Light come and speak to our meeting about hardening for the city, what they're planning, what's happening, what we need to know, what they need to know. Here's the problem. Unlike us, they don't work weekends. So they won't come on a Saturday morning. Would you all be open to a one-off time where we hold our meeting on a weekday at 9 o'clock in the morning so that we can get FPL in front of us? How does everybody feel about that? Okay. I don't know. Do we need a motion for that, Jim? Okay, great. So we'll work on that because, if I can overcome their inability to work Saturday, great. So it'll probably be a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday because we want to be able to have city staff attend that meeting, and there's always commission meetings on Monday or Tuesday, so we want the city staff that wants to be here to be able to attend also. So more to come on that. Without further ado, neighborhood report. Oh, sorry, Norm?
Yeah, I just had a question on that in terms of trying to set up that meeting. I think we want to try to get as many people as possible at that meeting because there are all kinds of questions various neighborhoods have. I was just wondering if 9 o'clock might be a time that's very difficult for many people to attend. Would there be some consideration of an alternate time where more people might be able to attend?
I'm open to anything. How do you guys feel about that? You want to make it a 4 o'clock meeting?
FPL probably doesn't work after 5 o'clock either.
Probably. But if they were the presenters at the beginning, they'd be done by 5. Or 9. We can make it 3 o'clock. Lynn?
Why don't you, when you contact FPL, you might want to find out what their schedule is and what their speakers are available for time-wise.
I will, but they already told me they only work Monday through Friday, so they left it wide open for me.
Right.
But there's only 2 guys and there's 50 of us, so I want to make sure that you're all able to attend too. But you're right.
Well, there's one speaker who's going to show up, right? But
2. There's 2.
I was just going to add, would online meeting be optional? A Zoom, would an online meeting be an option that we could take a look at?
It would still have to be a weekday because they won't work weekends.
Either works.
Yeah. Okay. Can we do? Alan?
Could I also suggest that you request questions in advance?
Great idea.
Sure.
Great idea.
Questions. If you get them in advance, please maybe a little bit better organized, because I'm sure a lot of them will be similar.
Okay. Great idea. Thank you. Anybody, anything else on that? Awesome. Thank you, Monica. Time for neighborhood reports. Melinda, would you like to go first?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Melinda Valpatch, Tahiti Park, and I have no report.
That was too cute. Good morning, Mary Butler, Emerald Park, and I'm just laughing at Melinda as she trained from treasurer to neighborhood report. Just so cute, see her flip her side, so to speak. Once again, good morning and happy New Year, everybody. 2025 was the year, wasn't it? We're so grateful, to be here, and my prayers and my heart go out to Miss Barbara and her family. She was definitely a friend of Emerald's Park, and for those of you who don't know, she actually was our secretary for like 3 years, and so we would definitely remember her deeply. One of the things I just want to add, and I'm looking for your support, the notice of community workshop that you pointed out earlier, Kelly, is one of these. We actually got one and was able to attend the meeting on Tuesday, December the 2nd. And this is for the proposal of recycling off of 301. A community workshop was held to discuss renovations to the recycling and waste transfer station at 3100 North Washington Boulevard. We met at the Betty J. Johnson Library. The attendant agent is the Mellon Haven Engineering. And the purpose of the meeting is to updates to improve the safety and production capacity. We had several neighbors come out, more than a handful come out, and they were not happy. If you guys are not familiar, this is the recycling place that's on 301, and it's not that far from Raphael Taylor. It was previously owned by Waste Management, and so this is our new owner. And the neighbors concerned, and there were several concerns. One, the neighbors complained of being waken up at 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning. We were told that operations, I think that was supposed to start to like 7 or 8 or something like that. But anyway, it's just not happening. These trucks are coming in all time of the morning, waking up the residents. That was the biggest complaint, being waken up really early in the morning. Also, the environmental and air quality is also a concern. The dust, the breeze. A neighbor said she went to her car and you could just see the film of dust on her car. There's also safety, traffic calming concerns, noise levels, stormwater, and flooding. And one of the things that we do ask is continued communication, that the neighbors are involved in the whole process of this. Let's see here. And so the new owners is the Coastal Water and Recovery. And so we just ask for your support with this process. We're just concerned about our neighborhood. And like I said, this has been going on for years, a very long time, and the neighbors are very concerned. And we want to continue to live in our neighborhoods in peace. And I want to thank Kelly for coming out to the meeting and expressing, concerns for health and safety. And we appreciate, you guys' support with this matter. Thank you.
Yeah, David Lowe, just about 2 weeks ago, I saw promotional materials for a project just 2 blocks from here. The website said, the first new luxury high-rise residence in downtown Sarasota with 3-day minimum rental freedom. It goes on to say owners able to use their residence and rent it out however they prefer. I want to be very clear, this was never anticipated, not in 100 years. Now let me step back and say why. I worked with that developer. I believe it was in Vista when an alley vacation was requested. And we came to what I thought was a great agreement of alley vacation with wider setbacks and more trees. And to see this at their website and their promotional materials for a project that is going to be administratively removed is unbelievable, to be frank with you. The promotional materials go on to talk about 2 rooftop bars. So what is being marketed is more like a hotel or Airbnb or resort. It certainly isn't like it. Now, here's where the real insult comes in. This project is to receive the 4 times bonus density for attainable housing. Is it really the letter and the intent of our ordinances to provide a 4 times bonus density to a project that is essentially turned into a hotel? I don't think so. This project is to be administratively approved, and I know, Pat, I'm sure you and others, Lucy and others are aware of the issue, but I'm, how do I say this, kind of outraged and almost in disbelief the developer could work with us in good faith, and Jim, I'm all with you as far as partnering with developers, but I personally feel that I kind of endorsed this project only to be kind of kicked in the teeth. So to be continued, but I wanted to make the group aware of this kind of end run or nonsense going on. Thank you.
Suzanne from Tool Support. I actually have something that I am going to be reading via our president. On Friday, January 16th, we will be having a neighborhood party with a grant that was written by Hannah, our president, and awarded by our city. And we know Nancy Kelly's very responsible for that. We'd like you to come to 1938 Adams Lane at the Artist Building. We're going to have jazz music, vendors, and open studios. We hope that you will come. The time is 4 to 8. Again, that date is Friday, January 16th, and there is ample parking. I'd like to close by saying that little Barbara was a nice little sparkle in this world, and it just breaks my heart to learn about her passing, and it's just very sad.
Yes, every time I think anybody walked in, Barbara was so happy to greet them, and she really loved her community. Lynn Elkis, Gillespie Park, I always forget to do that, I apologize. Back in early December, we had a meeting in the park with the VIPs from the park department, and we had a nice turnout of residents who did input to say what they felt we needed, and it was a very nice experience for everybody. And since then, the ball has started to roll, and we have activities happening to upgrade our park. Also, we had a wonderful neighborhood party at the holidays, and everybody had a great time. And I also would like to say how fortunate we are to be in this room for our meetings, thanks to the Garden Club. So I just wanted to share that too, because I think we kind of, go back and forth. Thank you.
Norm Demay, Glen Oaks Estates, no report.
Sherman Baldwin Park East, no real report other than it's early in the month, and I'm sure Kelly will be involved in this too. A lot of roadside move in, move out garbage in my district already has started, and I'll sure I'll let Pat know about that. But also, just on a little bit of a side note, as you all know, Hart's Landing, of which I'm the concessionaire, that building has been demolished, but I was told by Jerry Fogel that purchase orders have been either submitted or either maybe issued for the rebuilding of the park, which is something I really want to have happen soon. Doc Werlin, who's the big philanthropist of Werlin Park, just breaking his heart. He's not, I shouldn't say that, well, we've got to do it quick, let's just put it that way. And apparently purchase orders will be issued imminently for the architectural design for the rebuilding of Hart's Landing. Other than that, not much. Thank you.
Before you go, Rob, Pat, for Park East, we turned in months ago for the crosswalks and the signage on East Avenue from a safety standpoint. And I know it's in the queue. If you could let us know, when it's gonna raise to the top of the queue, that would be very helpful.
That's on East Avenue.
East Avenue from Fruitvale to 10th. Thank you.
Rob Grant, Arlington Park. Pat, I'll get with you with an item on a traffic sign in the neighborhood, which one missing, we need to get replaced. I'll get with you on the side. And we also have an issue, just to put it out there, so I'm sure Pat is aware of this, but with a couple of very large low tree limbs on Jefferson at Arlington. I know staff is working with some neighbors. Staff initially said these tree limbs had to come down, and now they're reconsidering it, trying to figure out a way to keep this very large old oak tree limbs in existence and not get rid of them. So I shortened this a little because of what David Lowe said about this developer and this sort of a bait and switch, for lack of a better term, what happened. And Kelly, you said in a couple of years it would be late, to see an article about how we've, resolved some divisiveness in the community. And here's the thing, for me, and my experiences here over a few years now, is that, we keep asking for compatibility issues and meaningful input, and we're making good faith efforts here to try and achieve that and get to the table and reduce that divisiveness. But when we have developers do things like this at Sarasota, how are we ever supposed to get there? When the lack of trust is not really always from our side. We're always labeled as NIMBYs, and we're always labeled as the problem and the squeaky wheel, but there is a trust issue. It doesn't really come from our side, I don't think. And so this is the problem, with the Meaningful Input Committee. Like, how do we achieve these things when the people that are sitting on the other side of the table aren't acting in good faith? So I just wanted to put that out there because this is the crux of the issue for us, right? I mean, we do the hard work. We come out here and give our time, and then this is what happens to us. And so I don't have any suggestions on how to resolve that, but I just want to put that out there because all of this makes me think of all of our time and effort, and it was not rewarded in any meaningful way. So thank you, Kelly.
Kevin Spence, Indian Beach Sapphire Shores. Thank you to the city for Quick to Fix. It works. A couple potholes resulted in our neighborhood. Also, thank you to Parks for completing the Milton Hurricane repairs to Sapphire Shores Park. It's now completely repaired and it's beautiful, so thank you to the city for that also. Also, what you've all been waiting for all year, the Indian Beach Sapphire Shores annual yard sale is this month. 1,000 homes. We have over 70 houses participate. Saturday, January 31st, 9 a.m. Thank you.
Tommy Diamano, Bay Island, Siesta Key. We just had a board meeting where pretty much the entire board decided, has timed out. Most of them have been on our board for 15, 20, 30 years. Fantastic service to our neighborhood association. So our board has changed quite a bit. We wanted to publicly thank our former president, Susan Saltamacchia. Some of you guys know her. She's fantastic. She's going to remain on our board, but the board has changed, and we'll email all that update to the group. But we definitely wanted to thank our former board members. They've served us for a long time, and they've done a really good job. So the new crew that's coming on is going to be asking a lot of questions, so we appreciate your support.
Tom Zenovic, San Remo. No report really, except we are expecting a change on our board, and when that happens, I'll make you aware of it. Thank you.
Good morning, Elizabeth Rose, Big Point Park. No neighborhood report, but I do have a suggestion on not printing the minutes anymore. Can we put them in the QR code so people at least can glance at it before we vote on something? Thank you.
Why not?
Great idea. Eileen Norma, Hudson Bayou. There is no neighborhood report, but just a note from the county stormwater committee. We meet now every month. It used to be every other month. It's now every month on the second Thursday of the month at 9:30 in the morning. And the real benefit right now, things are getting better in that committee and getting more effective, but the best benefit, and Chris Golia from St. Armand's will tell you this, is that if you come to that meeting, there is an opportunity to speak, and Ben Quartermain is there. He's been there every time, and he's the head of the county stormwater, and he hears you, and he takes notes. So right now, that is the big benefit to coming to the meeting it's the second Thursday, 9:30 in the morning, and you have to go on the county website to find out where it is, because they don't have a home now. The building is shut down, so we're meeting in various places. But if you need that information, I'd be happy to share it.
Thank you. Good morning, Jerry Fagan, Glen Oaks Ridge. And Pat, I have a question about the airport.
Ooh, all right, that's a new one. All right, so go with it. It's that way.
We were under the impression, probably wrong, that they have a time where they're not allowed to take off and land. But now there's an uptick of late night arrivals and departures at close to midnight. Glen Oaks Ridge is directly underneath the flight path. I can see the pilot's face from my window.
Are you the one we keep getting the guy with the finger as they fly?
When they're taking off, they accelerate right above our place. And
so I believe there was a resolution passed in the 90s. I'm not sure that's still, I think it timed out, but I'll find out for you. But they do have a new CEO, just started. His name is Phil. Mr. Bullock and I met with him. Very, very nice guy. He's got some good ideas coming in, and that might be a time to re-engage. He also lives in the city. I'm not going to tell you where because he might show up his door. But he is a city resident, so I think there is an avenue there for engagement. But let me look into that and I'll get back with you. I know that there was a resolution back in the day, but I think that timed out in the early 2000s. So I'll find out for you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, Jody Geiger, Bayou Oaks. We just had our 4th Adopt a Road pickup. We had 10 volunteers. We collected 270 gallons of trash. My big complaint right now is Christmas, thank goodness, brought a lot of lovely gifts to our young people consisting of 2-wheeled motorized vehicles. Getting a lot of racing up and down on Bradenton Road, some of the side streets, and the worst part is where they're also going into North Water Tower Park as well, where there's a lot of walkers, disc throwers, and families. So other than that, that's it. Thank you very much.
Alan Harriser, South Poinsett Park Neighborhood Association. Just wanted to thank everyone who worked on our 2025 centennial year. Thank goodness we're not going to do that again in 2026, but it was a wonderful year, and I'm proud to be part of the association. Our major accomplishment is we completed our proposal for new street lighting, worked with the city commissioners, and it was approved in the October Commission meeting to move forward with creating the legislation needed for a special purpose district, and we'll continue to work with the city on funding and costs and so forth. So major projects still in process. Our project for this coming year is to develop a street-by-street communication list, so in the case of emergencies, neighbors can actually communicate with neighbors, because people who travel find out, oh my goodness, my sprinkler system is exploding, or the alarm went off, who do I call to help me out? And we only have communications for about 50% of our neighbors. So we really have no easy way to communicate those kinds of situations. So trying to put that list together for each street to be used on that street is our focus for this year. And of course, that'll help us make sure we have communications to all of our neighbors. And as I said right now, other than banging on doors, we only have about 50 to 60% of electronic communication information.
The last thing we're doing is working on our May business meeting, which hopefully will make it to a very festive affair with a lot of attendance. And hopefully 2026 will be as successful as 2025. Thank you.
Valerie and SHA Council, we continue to fight the public garage that they want to put in at McCowan Tower. I came to y'all months ago and said that I might need you all help. Our residents do not want public parking in the proposed area. And I listened to the presentation, and they talk about notifying, affected people when things are happening. Well, our residents don't get notified. They get told after the fact. The new building that's going up in McCowan Tower, they were told after the fact. They made the decision. They didn't, they thought that it wasn't important to talk with those residents. So, the city continued to make decisions and think that our citizens aren't important enough to involve them. So I just want y'all to think about that, because there are people too, just like everyone sitting around this table. They are human, they have feelings, and they want to experience the same quality of life that everybody else does.
Valerie, just to set the record straight, and not to denigrate any of the things you said, but it's not the city of Sarasota you're talking about, that's the Public Housing Authority, which has nothing to do with the city of Sarasota. So your complaints are with the Housing Authority, not with the city, right?
It's the Housing Authority, but HUD has said that every housing authority, see, I've heard that for many, many years, but HUD itself said that the city, each city is responsible for those housing authorities. They get funding
That's
from
not true,
HUD.
Valerie, that's not true.
Okay, well, HUD said it, so, but nevertheless, it's part of the city, and it's citizens that live in those buildings.
Valerie, the Public Housing Authority is not part of the city of Sarasota. It's a federal entity. We will talk to Mr. Russell and find out what can be done.
John Dieter, Berkeley, Norfolk.
Good morning, Mark Spiegel, Golden Gate Point Association. I'm just going to give you a little bit of an update on the construction in Golden Gate Point as you know it. Last month, the temporary certificate of occupancy was issued for the peninsula, and residents are beginning to move in. 688 in Owen, as we've been told, should be completed and receive their TCO mid-year 26. And the Amara should begin construction sometime within the first or second quarter of 26. So lots of activity going on, and that's just an update where we are.
Good morning, Laurel Corbett, Central Coconut. And first and foremost, I want to thank you for all your work with the traffic. And our neighborhood will definitely be on that. So I can't tell you how many times Barbara has called me. We're going to call the city. This traffic is awful. To the extent that on December 4th, our board wrote a letter to Nick. The good news is that on January 7th, we will be meeting on the corner of 12th and Coconut at 8 a.m. so they can see this in action. And I'm like, you don't get upset. But if anything,
let's make this tragedy get us to all focus and put things in action. One of the things that we suggested is to double the fine for any speeding that happens during the morning or evening hours. So that's it. Good news is we also did win the grant, so we're excited about the cleanup coming. And in December, we had our board elections. We have 4 continuing board members, but 2 new members, which are kind of exciting because it's sort of make new friends and keep the old ones. We have Gloria Armstrong, who's been in our neighborhood forever and a past president, coming back on board. And we have Mark Lecca, who is a new neighbor and realtor, and very exciting. You may have seen that he's got a very dynamic Facebook page going, and he's really just a mover and shaker, so we're happy to have him on board. And let's see, I think that's about it. Thank you very much, and Norm, especially thank you for all you're doing. This is major everywhere. Thank you.
Good morning, Jessie here from Lido Key Residents Association. I have a brief update regarding Ted Sperling Park and our recent member meeting. First, some good news. In December, County Commissioners unanimously approved a 300-foot no idle, no wake zone, that's the new words I learned, around the park. While this is a major step forward, enforcement will not be immediate. The County Parks Department advises it will take about 1 year to secure stage sign-offs and install the necessary navigation signs. We would like to specifically thank County Commissioner Mark Smith for his consistent hard work and for keeping this critical issue on the county's agenda. While we celebrate this progress, our work is not finished. We are still pushing the county to address noise ordinances and corrosion issues around the park. Additionally, we are calling on the city to address the straightaway on Benjamin Franklin Drive, to stop the daily hot roading between the Ritz and the park. We are requesting the installation of speed cameras. On a final note, the LKRA held a member meeting in November where city staff gave a presentation on the upcoming beach renourishment project, which I believe is going to be starting soon. The presentation was received very well by our members, and we want to thank the city staff for their time and transparency. We will continue to follow up with both city and county officials to ensure all these safety and maintenance measures are completed. Thank you.
And last, I think, but not least, Joyce Fitzpatrick, Plymouth Harbor. I'll keep it brief. This is my last meeting. We have 2 new delegates, 2 gentlemen. The one, Mike Pettit, who will be the primary representative or delegate, had a last-minute family emergency, which is why he's not here. So hopefully you'll meet him next month. I just have no report from Plymouth Harbor, but I'm a rabid environmentalist, and the idea of a recycling facility in a populous area I find is unacceptable. I would like to be more familiar with that initiative and what's being done. The idea of workforce housing, I think, is great. And the other question I had for Alia was about Florida Power and Light. and what they're doing, both to support and not support our community. So I'm excited about that new program. But thank you. I've enjoyed my 2 years here with the group, and I know Mike will be a very effective delegate.
Yep, following Linda's lead, Ron Cashman, Laurel Park. No report.
Thank you, Ron. Really quick, Jim and I met with Lori Rivers a few weeks ago to talk about advisory boards, city advisory boards, that they're looking to fill seats. Because, this is a community of people that are involved. So what Jim and I talked with Lori about was, let us help you fill some of those seats. Let us know what you need help with, and we'll put it out to the community to try to fill those seats with people in active neighborhoods. So when you see those emails coming out, please pay attention. If you know someone in your neighborhood you think would be great on that advisory board, get them to sign up. And then secondly, I don't know if you guys know about this, all of you, but there's something, an email that comes out, a mayor's message, quite regularly, and there is fantastic information in that message that you can use for your newsletters, your Facebook pages. You don't have to recreate the wheel. There's really, really good information. So if you're not getting that, sign up for it through the city's website. It has great value. You can keep track of what's going on. And North Trail traffic is going to start down to 2 lanes again from MLK to Myrtle.
Yes.
Like tomorrow. So be prepared. We've already asked for help on Old Bradenton Road because the traffic's going to jump over there, and also concerns with Indian Beach Sapphire Shore. So do not assume if you're seeing something that someone else took care of it. Raise your hand, send an email, ask for help. Pat, anything you'd like to add?
No, just kind of go over the to-do list real quick, as quick as I can. Tangier Terrace, PD off-key, traffic enforcement, the parks update. We'll take a look at the G-zone. To Rob's point, I'd like to have a longer conversation about that parks delineation, if it's just a name change or if there's something statutory that we need to take a look at. Kelly Brown, I had parks have all different rules, which I gotta look into. I'm not sure you're right about that, whatever. I'll find out. Alia, fantastic presentation, ma'am. Thank you very much. Eileen, you were the founder of that idea with the signage, so hopefully we'll move in the right directions. I saw Commissioner Hayden Koch, no flags. As promised, no flags. Commissioner Hayden Koch wanted green, yellow, and red flags, and she wanted me to stand out there and wave them at all the beaches, so I'm not doing that. Stormwater, Nick's document, thank you. I know Nick and the engineering team has worked quite a bit. Thanks, member, for involvement. I think it cannot be stated, as Beth said, your voices are heard at the elected level. I know Commissioner Smith is here, who's been an advocate for us on a number of things. This wouldn't happen without the elected officials in the room here advocating for those funding, because staff has they already have their ideas of what's coming out. The only way those things change is by direction of the policymakers, which are elected officials. Your elected officials answer to the people that are in this room. So when you bring a busload or 2 busloads down to a topic like that, it does have an impact, whether right or wrong, or it goes the way that you want or it doesn't, it does have an impact. So thank you for continuing in that conversation. And not just on the stormwater topic, but on all topics. But it can't go without saying that the elected officials really do drive where that funding goes. So a lot of credit has to go to both the city and county elected officials for making that determination. CM search, yes, 77 applicants. Some dropped out because of the public records requirement. It is all the applications are posted on our website, but we also did get some additional ones apparently after it initially came out, but we'll keep those up. On the website, we're going to be launching an AI tool probably in the next month or so. It is absolutely amazing. I was kind of didn't like it, but Jim is going to get dialed in next to take a look at it. The thing is, it's amazing. I hope it is really, really an impressive tool. The crash, obviously, Barbara's crash, we'll get an update as soon as we can. Let's see, DISCA's concern relative to the short-term rental, and David did send an email about that. Staff is looking into that, so I appreciate that. Let's see, the move in, move out, and eviction debris, and we're streamlining that process. We've had some success with it. It's all about documentation and ensuring that we can hold the people accountable. So we're trying to cut all the bureaucratic red tape in that process, to let the field workers actually document it and get that stuff off the street ASAP. So Sherman, thank you for that. We are hopefully to see some movement on that. You know, I can't give Jerry and his team enough credit. They're going through on these parks and getting them all changed out, or I shouldn't say changed out, repaired. I know that's been a long time in coming. Flights from SRQ, I'll take a look into that, maybe call the new CEO, appreciate that. A lot of discussion about e-bikes and motorcycles. I know the PD is working on that in the regulatory language. We don't chase motorcycles or e-bikes, unfortunately. There is a delineation between e-bikes and motorcycles. It's the speed at which they go. Really, we're having an issue with the motorcycle side. Our little VO ride scooters, just FYI, just so you hear it from me, those don't go above 12 miles an hour. So you don't see those racing anywhere, hopefully, unless they're changing them, and I haven't heard about that. It's generally those new ones like the kids get for the holidays, and they are very fast. Golden Gate Point, the construction sites, I know that Nick and his engineering crew, Larry and building, have been working with some of the residents to come up with a parking and staging plan, trying to get that under control. We are aware of that, but we are committed to staying on top of those issues. Let's see, Tinsburling Park, yes, Lido Key. Speed cameras are still a no-go in residential neighborhoods outside of school zones. So instead of writing the county or elected officials, you really need to work on the state elected officials to change that statutory language, because currently they are not allowed in residential neighborhoods outside of school zones. There's been some discussion whether or not they'll be opened up to areas like parks, which obviously right at the beach, that might be something that we could look at, but it's got to change at the state before we're able to do anything at the local level. Nancy, am I missing anything?
No, I just want to say one thing when you're done.
I'm done.
Okay. I'm going to be sending everyone the neighborhood, the association info form. I'm going to email everyone the association email form. I'm going to change it up a little bit, mimic what Ccna is doing. So I want one email for city information, which I'm going to share with the Development Services Department, all the other departments as well. So the form will say, you know, you can use your president email, your second, but I'm also going to have a line, one email for you to receive city information. So, because right now I send it to three different emails for each neighborhood. It's a little redundant. All right, so look out for that form the next week or so. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Real quick, as we wrap up, please, please, please put the chairs stacked the same way. And if anybody isn't a Facebook friend with Mary Butler, you just got to do it because her New Year's picture is amazing. And Mark Smith, January 13th, please get us the funding to shut down U.S. Recycling for affordable housing. Please, please, please. Thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned. Please break down the